Tonight, before going to sleep, you put on your headphones. You choose a song, press play, and the world fades away. The traffic outside gone, the people talking in the house gone, the thoughts racing through your head about tomorrow gone too. Only sound remains, flowing directly into your mind, not through speakers, not through the air. Straight in as if someone were whispering inside your skull. You do nothing. You just lie there. You just listen. This is the most ordinary moment of your day. You have done it hundreds of times. Without thinking, without learning how. As if your brain was born already knowing that music is something it needs. But that moment, headphones on, press play, the world fades away. For 99% of human history, it did not exist. No headphones, no speakers, no Spotify, no recorded music, not a single second of it. Try to imagine it. You are born 300,000 years ago, on the same planet, still human, still with ears, a brain, and emotions. But if you wanted to hear music, someone had to be standing right in front of you, singing, drumming, blowing into an instrument, right then, right there. And when they stopped, the sound disappeared. Nothing remained. You could not save it. You could not rewind it. You could not listen to it again at 11 p.m. when you could not sleep. Music existed exactly once. Then it dissolved into the air, forever. 300,000 years. That is the entire time humans have existed on Earth. And for almost all of that time, music could only live when a human breath was actively creating it. Your headphones have existed for less than 50 years. So why did they keep doing it? 300,000 years. No speakers, no recordings. The moment a sound was made, it disappeared. And yet our ancestors, people who were hungry, cold, and constantly fleeing predators, still spent time creating music. Remember, they had no claws, no great speed, no thick fur. They were among the weakest creatures in nature. Every day was a genuine struggle for survival. And yet they still sang, still kept rhythm, still played flutes. Why? Not because they were bored, not because they needed entertainment. Neuroscientists at McGill University discovered that music activates the brain's dopamine system, the same regions that activate when you eat, when you feel safe, and when you are loved. The human brain does not separate music from survival. For our ancestors, shared sound was not a luxury. It was what held the group together. It synchronized heartbeats, synchronized actions, synchronized emotions. A group of people listening to the same rhythm is a group that is harder to divide. Music was not art. Music was the glue of humanity. So what did they create it with? So what did they use to create music? The answer begins with the thing closest to you right now. The first musical instrument required no craftsmanship, no woodcutting, no stone carving, no tools of any kind. The first musical instrument in human history was the human body itself, clapping hands, stomping feet, beating the chest, howling into the darkness. Those sounds required no training, no memory. They emerged naturally whenever people gathered around a fire, when they were afraid, when they were celebrating, or when they were preparing for battle. Anthropologists at Oxford University have studied tribes that still exist in Africa and the Amazon, groups of people who have had little to no contact with the modern world. And what they discovered is this: every one of them has collective rhythm, every single one, without exception. When an entire group claps to the same beat, the brains of the individuals begin to synchronize. Their brain waves become more alike, their heart rates move closer together. The boundary between me and us starts to fade. This is not a metaphor, it is biology. Collective rhythm is a human bonding technology that existed before language, before writing, before everything else. Your body still remembers it. That is why you naturally nod along to music without anyone teaching you how. But then humans began to build instruments, and this is where the story becomes truly astonishing. In 2008, at Hohlefels Cave in the Swabian Jura region of southern Germany, a team of archaeologists discovered something that nobody expected could have survived: a flute made from the wing bone of a vulture. About 22 centimeters long, with 5-finger holes, carefully carved by hand and spaced with astonishing precision. Its age, 40,000 years. 40,000 years. When modern humans had only recently arrived in Europe, when mammoths still walked across the landscape, someone sat down, picked up a vulture bone, and carefully carved each hole one by one. Not to hunt, not for self-defense, to create sound. Scientists reconstructed the flute and played it. It still produced sound. It could still play melodies. After 40,000 years buried in the earth, the music was still there, hidden inside every small finger hole carved into that ancient piece of bone. This is the oldest musical instrument ever discovered on Earth. But that is not the most shocking part. The most shocking part is where the music happened. For decades, archaeologists focused on the paintings inside caves. Images of bison, wild horses, and human handprints pressed onto stone walls created tens of thousands of years ago, deep inside dark mountains. The question was always the same: why paint here? There was no natural light, People had to crawl through narrow passages. No one could see the artwork. There was no practical reason for it, until a group of researchers began measuring something else: sound. They brought acoustic equipment into famous caves in France and Spain, Lascaux, Altamira, and Font-de-Gaume, and they discovered something astonishing. The areas with the highest concentration of paintings were also the areas with the strongest echoes, not by accident. The correlation was too clear to be accidental. Our ancestors did not choose painting locations based on light. They did not choose them based on convenience. They chose them based on sound. They went deep into the mountain, shouted into the darkness, listened to the echoes return, and when they found the place where sound carried the farthest, the strongest, the strangest, they stopped. And they began to paint. The cave was not an art gallery. The cave was a concert hall, a speaker system. They were designing musical spaces 40,000 years before humans invented the concept of a recording studio. Let that sink in for a moment. When you walk into a modern concert hall, acoustic engineers calculate every wall angle and every material so that sound spreads as perfectly as possible. That is considered the height of 21st century technology. Your ancestors did the same thing with nothing but their ears, in complete darkness, carrying handheld torches, and they got it right. So 40,000 years ago, they selected caves based on sound. They carved flutes from vulture bones. They clapped, stomped, and howled into the darkness so they could feel united. And tonight, you put on your headphones. You think those are two different things. They are not. Your brain today, biologically speaking, is almost identical to the brain of the person who played that vulture bone flute. The same dopamine system. The same response to synchronized rhythm. The same regions of the brain lighting up when sound reaches exactly the right place. Technology changes. The program inside does not. They went deep into mountains to find the place where sound echoed the farthest. You put on headphones, so the outside world fades away. Different forms. The same need. To be completely surrounded by sound. To escape the noise of reality. To feel that you are not alone. The vulture bone flute has long since decayed. The cave still exists, but no one plays music there anymore. The person who made it left behind no name and no face. But the reason they made it is still here, inside you. Right now. We do not listen to music because we have headphones. We created headphones because we cannot stop listening to music.